Hi everyone, welcome back. We're going to be taking a look at the torso this time. As you can see, I've started the upper torso, but really the upper torso is not complete. What I'm going to be looking at this time is the sections across the bottom here. I'd still consider this to be the upper torso, even though we're getting this far down. So it's going to be a case of printing the three pieces to go across the bottom here. I believe there'll be three pieces across the back as well. Across here. And then I believe in the middle, you can see we've got this section here. That will extend down another piece. Possibly two. I'm not really sure which parts go in here. And the same on this side. And then I've also seen some other pieces that seem to fit in the middle but more to the side, probably going in these holes here. So it's going to be a little bit of a boring video because there's nothing exciting going on here. Just going to be going through the parts that finish up the bottom part of the upper torso. So here's the first three parts of the back. I just had to file around in here to make these parts fit. So these are the three parts of the front. So I just got this joint and this joint to file out to join them together. And we now have the front joined, so we've now got the front and the back pieces. So I think the next thing to do is we have these interconnecting pieces that join the front to the back. That looks like it goes in those holes, and then the front will fit on like that. So I'll need to file out these rectangular holes here to get this piece to fit in, and we'll need another one of these. So that's the first side piece in there, and then this one's just come off the printer, and I believe this one goes in here. I presume that will go like that. I'll need to do just a little bit of filing here as well. That just looks like that's the only place that will fit. Not quite sure why we've got these holes and these holes. So actually there's a pair here that are staggered and offset. One here and two here. No idea what they're for. But that looks like that's the only place that will fit. I suppose it could go that way. I suppose it could fit in there. And then these would go on here, so yeah, they would line up. Maybe we have a choice. Maybe it can go in those ones. It looks like it could go in multiple positions. It could go there, it could go here, or we could flip it over and it could go there. It won't fit in the end ones. Can only assume it's to give you different options. I'll have to see if I can find some drawings. I'm inclined to think my original thought was correct in that the two prongs fit down in these holes here. The reason being, let me see down here, there's this cutout here, which seems to be the same depth as the one further back here. It probably shows that quite well like that. They seem to be the same depth, so I think that must be the depth of the Connects controller that slots in here. Yeah, you can see the two prongs in there. That actually pushed in there with no filing at all, so I don't think that actually needs to be filed out. It hasn't gone quite flat, but then neither did the one further back either. Even after all the filing, I couldn't get it completely flat. I will just try and double check that to make sure that's correct, but if that's right, then I just need to put the two middle pieces on this side as well. So I think what I'll do is glue all the back pieces together, but leave the front so that it can be removable, so that will just push on rather than being glued on. The reason being is once we attach it to the robot, I need to remove this front plate so that I can get the shoulder pieces in these spaces in here. Once they are in there, we could glue it on, but I think it's nice to be able to take it apart. So I just need to get these last two pieces printed, and then I could glue that whole section together. So I had a quick look online, and it does appear that these pieces do go in these positions with the double pins going in here. I'm wondering if possibly some of these other holes might be for things like the battery holder, which would be attached from the back, and possibly the sides and the back covering. They have some little brackets and things that might fit into those. So I've now got all four of these center pieces in place, and I've also printed two of these out. They go on here. They'll go here and here. They just make up a little bit more of the center column. I've taken a look at how I'm going to attach this to the robot that we've got built so far. I've removed the front plate off of there, and I think the front will be fairly straightforward because because this will just attach onto here with a bit of filing in these joints. That'll just become one single piece, so that's straightforward. But the back's a little bit more tricky. It's kind of like a giant 3D jigsaw puzzle, this thing. So with these pieces that I printed here, they go in these positions, here and here. So they'll have to push downwards into those holes. But that's going to give me a problem with this piece, because they'll connect in here and here, but it means I won't be able to get these pieces in, because they'll need to be pushed in sideways onto these joints, but they need to go down into these joints. So obviously the way you have to do this is attach the back plate in first, and then these pieces will have to join. I'll have to take these out of here. They'll have to join onto these, and then these two pieces, this piece and this piece, will have to be pushed downwards all in one go. That probably doesn't make much sense, but so I'll have to join the back plate on first by filing these out, and these joints here, getting the back plate attached. Then I'll have to join these pieces to these pieces, and then once they're joined together, they can then go in as one piece and push down into the holes in the back plate. So you kind of have to do it in that order: the back plate first, then join these pieces, and then finally these pieces will push in last. Then once you've got all of that on, then the front plate can come back down on top of everything. As you can see, I've cracked this. Just trying to force it in really before it was ready. Just need to really take your time with them and keep filing away until you get a nice fit. I should be able to glue that. So the problem we've got with this is if we line these two up on this side, we actually end up with these two on this side quite a bit further across from where they should be. You see we've got a gap at the end, gaps in here and here, and that's when we have this side all lining up. So I think I've got to try and sort of position it centrally so the gaps are kind of equal on both sides, and just file out kind of these sides on this one and these sides on this one, and try and just sort of get it positioned as central as we can. Doesn't seem to be a very good fit. Quite surprised by that, because most of the other parts have gone together quite well. Oh well, we'll have a challenge. We won't have the same problem with the front because we haven't got this middle section in here. This can flex. See, that can flex, so we should be able to fit this side in here and that side in there without a problem. Okay, with a little help from the Dremel, I have got it in. I'm not entirely happy with it, but I don't think I've got any choice. I think that's going to have to do. I seem to have ended up with all the gap on this side, and it's quite tight on this side. I was trying to get it a bit more central than that. As you can see there, again, there's a bit of a gap here. This side's quite tight. I mean, this is the interior of the robot. We're not going to see any of this, so it doesn't really matter. So I guess the next thing to do is get these parts joined together. This joint here, and we need 2 sets of these. So I'm starting to make a bit of progress now. I've got the first of these central pieces in here, and I've got the second one ready to go in. I've got the joint made here, and the next job to do is to fit that down in here. These joints here are fitting quite well. They're sort of nice and tight, but they do go in fairly easily. Because I've got this gap here, got a bit of a gap in this, so that would probably indicate that this hole and this hole are probably a bit further apart than they really ought to be. So I'm probably going to have to file out this one a little bit just to get that to fit in, but everything does look like it's gonna, back to front, does look like it's gonna fit quite snugly. This joint here is gonna, well, it's not really a joint, but it kind of butts up against it, and it looks like it's gonna fit quite snugly there. The first one worked out reasonably well. It's quite tight down in the joints, and then the butt here, it doesn't join, so it's kind of moves a bit, but once we get the top plate on, that'll just tie everything together, and I think that worked out quite well. So I think what I'm going to do is turn the robot around so I can get to the other side a bit easier, and then start working on this joint here. And there we go, the second one's in. We just have a look down here again, very small gap in here, but once the front plate goes on, that should close up. So we're just about there. Just the front plate to go. So there's the front plate in. Just about there now. And then the last part. So the last thing I want to do is get this front plate fitting on here. I remember when I fitted the original front plate, it was quite difficult to get all of the holes filed out and getting everything to line up, and I think it's just because there's so many different holes, they all need to be quite a good fit before it will go down. The top one should all already fit because they were already on there before, so it's only really these 4 down here and 3 here and 3 here. So this area here is left cut out to take the Xbox Kinect controller. So that it acts as some kind of sensor so the robot can detect things that are in front of it, I guess. Okay, so there he is. I've got the front plate on now. Took a bit of fiddling, but got there in the end. All the bottom parts went together relatively easily. Didn't need to do much work to those to get them all fitting. The main problem area was these four here. You needed quite a bit of work filing out the holes to get them all to fit, which was similar to when I did these original 6. I had a lot of trouble with those. I think the reason for that is that this area here is all quite rigid and doesn't flex at all, where this area around the bottom here can give and flex quite a bit. Things can just fit in, whereas up here it's just all so much more rigid. Everything has to be perfectly lined up before it'll drop on. Well, I got there in the end. You can see in the sides the squares are in the centre there are lining up quite nicely. It's all fitting fairly tightly together in there. Same on the other side. Yeah, quite happy with that in the end. Okay, so I think we'll leave it there for now. Sorry this was a little bit of a more boring video, not really much exciting going on. Next time I'll hope to get onto the shoulder mechanism. There'll be quite a bit of work there building a complete shoulder. I'll need to order a couple more servos. I've ordered some ball bearings for the bicep as well, and if we can get the shoulder together we can attach the bicep to the shoulder. That's why I wanted to get the torso built a bit more, because I need to be thinking about a stand to put this on now, because we haven't really got room for the arms. We're going to need a lot more height to work with, so I need to get a stand built. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you did like the video, hit the like button. And hopefully we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.